So the first thing I looked at before going into this study, and these are just kind of things that, similar to what Nick mentioned, there are issues and barriers that are surrounding integrating renewable energy technologies into these diesel systems. For the communities themselves, Nick mentioned, and the Nunavut Energy Security Plan factors heavily into this, heating and security in the homes, demand side management, so that means a lot of the homes in these communities could use insulation upgrades, energy efficiency retrofits, that kind of thing, to reduce the actual demand for electricity. And that's actually stated as one of the first steps before implementing any renewable energy system. But if you're looking at utility scale renewable, it's especially important. Of course, reliability. Bob mentioned, these systems are dependent on intermittent generation, so you need a system that is reliable. Some communities mentioned that their inability to increase their electrical demand had stifled growth opportunities within the community. So that was something that I thought was really interesting, not just to consider the projected demand for electricity in the communities, but the projected demand if they could expand, say, a manufacturing sector or another type of economic stimulus opportunity. And then ownership. So this is really tied into the community perception and the acceptance of these technologies in the community, because like Nick said, it's important to keep the financial benefits of those systems in the community. In terms of barriers, and it seems like all of our presentations here support each other well, energy storage is clearly an issue. Intermittency and integration, obviously diesel generators need to run between a certain range of values all the time to avoid wear and tear on the system and make sure that they're always in operating condition. So this is something that had to be taken into consideration. But government policy, sunk costs, and rate structure were very relevant to this study because it is the rate structure, which is based on government policy, that has put these communities in this kind of precarious energy situation. I'm not sure if a lot of people are familiar with the way off-grid communities are charged for their power, but there's basically a block system whereby they pay a certain amount per kilowatt hour up to a certain level, and then over and above that, they're charged a lot more. So it's basically, I think, 1,000 kilowatt hours per month. Above that, the rate really skyrockets, which makes it prohibitive to use things like electric heating in people's homes, and it's built that way. It's built to price out those options for people in these communities. So that rate structure is complicated because it means that the people in the communities don't actually see the full cost of the power, because the first block is highly subsidized by the government and by other ratepayers. And then above that, they pay way more than the island interconnected rate or the Labrador interconnected rate, and that causes a lot of other issues. So these weren't really the focus of my research, but it's kind of adjacent issues that do play into the research that I did and that are very important in the discussion of off-grid communities.